The news is a bit grim this morning. There have been protests for a second night in and around Manchester after a police officer was filmed apparently stamping on a man's head.
Well, they could be seen waving signs that read, "No justice, no peace," and "Stop police brutality."
Well, Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, warned protesters not to use the incident for political purposes, and he called for calm.
Well, the officer involved has been suspended, but hundreds of people demonstrated outside Rochdale Police Station, calling for more to be done.
We saw you. We know you're in there. Come out, explain yourself. Why has only one officer been suspended? What about the rest of them?
All right, let's talk to retired Scotland Yard detective Mike Neville. Morning to you, Mike. I mean, look, how do they get a lid on this now? How do they get this under some sort of control?
Well, I think Andy Burnham has been very correct by trying to stop the politicisation of this. There's no evidence whatsoever of any racism in this, and we've all seen the video, and at first sight of the video it does look very, very bad. And so you would hope that the authorities would do as quick as possible to review all the other video, to release things, to see the absolute truth of this, because of course we're always told, let's see these things in context, what happened in the whole thing. Well, let's get all that video reviewed very, very quickly so an announcement can be made as this is what we've discovered, this is the whole truth of it. But as you say, it's good that Andy Burnham has put a lid, tried to put a lid on this before it gets taken over again.
Do you think that the full footage needs to be released into the public domain in order to stop this unrest? Because Andy Burnham's saying that, yes, if you see that short clip, it does look very disturbing. But if you look at the full footage, he says the situation is not clear-cut at all.
Well, I think that's the right thing to do, because when you start hiding things or not releasing things, people think there's some kind of secret involved there. And if that can all be released, if there's some more facts can be released. I mean, just on another side of this, we've now been told that one of the family members of the people who were there is also a police officer. So that's also in the mix. So let's get the full facts out, and we can hopefully put a lid on this, because, as I say, while people think there's something to hide, they will continue to protest.
Well, what do you actually think of the protests, Mike? I mean, are these people with genuine concerns, or is it a case of some people just looking for an excuse to jump on the bandwagon?
I think it is absolutely that you've had all these Gaza protests. It fits in well with them. The people have come from Pakistan, and so people are trying to get on board this. So the family have said that they don't want anything politicised, but there are too many people who just want to cause trouble, and this achieves nothing at all. So we can't have mob rule where the mob demand this, the mob demand that. Let's have it where the authorities deal with things, but deal with things quickly so they can put a lid on it.
What did you make then of the comments of Dal Babu? You might have caught it yesterday. As the former chief superintendent at the Metropolitan Police, and he says he thinks that racism had played a significant part in all of this.
I absolutely disagree with that. There's no evidence whatsoever of that. The incident apparently started off with a police officer with some assault on an old lady, and then a police officer being assaulted. No one has ever mentioned at the time any element of racism. So I think that's a very unfortunate thing that Dalbabu said, and it just stirs up further trouble.
I mean, correct me, but wasn't he the Black Police Officers Association lead or something, Del Babu? Mike, I mean,
he was.
Yeah, so I mean, so it makes me wonder why he would release a statement like that with all his experience when we haven't had the evidence yet. I mean, there hasn't been the investigation yet. It does seem very presumptive.
It's very foolish, and it just whips up a storm. It isn't good enough to say things like that. If we're going to come out with comments like that, let's have some facts and evidence. And this is where we could have facts and evidence, because as an airport, it's covered by CCTV all over the place. The officers have got body-worn video, and so it's the easiest thing to show the whole incident in its whole entirety.
Mike, just before we let you go, we are almost out of time, but just in terms of what happens next, how long do you think this investigation is going to take place? We're hearing there's lots of CCTV and excessive amounts, actually, significant amounts of body-worn videos from these police officers?
Well, it could take months, to review all that footage. But the facts are, they could do the main bits of it within a number of days. My expertise was dealing with CCTV, so if you get the key pieces of footage, really you could have the most of it dealt with within a few days. And this is what it needs to do to stop all this speculation and trouble.
Yeah. Okay, Mike. Good to see you. Thanks very much indeed. It's just, it does drive me mad. There's lots on Twitter last night, and it's not just those people saying the police are terrible, this is awful, this is racist. It's also the other side who then are having a go back. You've just got to look at it and go, all right, let's get the facts. Let's find out what it is. It's things like, just before you cut back to us there was... a vicious kick. Which you can't. It was blurred out, so we can't see exactly what was kicked. But one thing we learned yesterday from Mark White is that actually sometimes you have to do what looks like a very violent thing to disable an arm, or whatever, so that people can't withdraw a weapon. Or, is that the case there? We don't know. But the thing is, you've got to allow these investigations to happen to work out and find out what on earth was going on at the time. We just can't jump to conclusions. And the people may have the best intentions in protesting, but they haven't got anything to protest about because we don't know if this was racist. We don't know if it was a disproportionate response. It may have been absolutely proportionate to the threat that was around at the time. Let it just play out and then see where we are.
And Andy Burnham's saying it's not clear-cut, actually, when you see all of the footage. Paul Waugh, who's the Labour MP for Rochdale, says he's been speaking with the family involved in the heart of this video. He says they're traumatised, but they did not want the incident to be hijacked by extremists. They don't want to see any protests over this video. So this isn't the family at the heart of these protests.
Sometimes
probably people getting involved, isn't it?
I saw one sign saying the GMP is racist. Based on what? That's a heck of a
claim.
It is, isn't it? But people have concerns, but you've got to... I don't know, I just find it all very frustrating.
Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/yoursay.